G'day guys, year 9, well, just a basic intro to measurement basically. So measurement is usually split into 3 parts. Perimeter, which is the length of something. We've got area, which is, let's see, the area of something, like this piece of paper. And then we've got something like volume, which is, how much mass, I guess, or how much space an object can take up. So you notice that they go up in dimensions. So length, 1 dimension or 2 dimension, area, 2 dimensional, and then volume is more 3 dimensional. So I've just got 4 problems here. So perimeter, length around the outside of a 2-dimensional usually shape. So it's the length around the outside. So in measurement and in geometry, a lot of the time is we use these little dashes to mean that they're the same length. So the perimeter of the shape, the square, because they're all the same length, or quadrilateral, because we don't know if they're at right angles, is 4 times 4, so that is 16 centimeters. Or you could just add them up, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So for this triangle here, it's an isosceles triangle because 2 sides are the same length, which means it's isosceles. And so we have 8 plus 8 plus 10, and so we have 26 centimeter perimeter. It's the length around the outside. So to make this a little trickier, as we do what is compound shapes. So this little house shape is compound out of a triangle and a square. And now I've made every length the same. So the top is an isosceles triangle and the bottom is part of a square. So we're not calculating this line around here because it wouldn't be part of the perimeter. So we have 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, or this is just some different iteration of a pentagon of a 5-side shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so the perimeter is 10 centimeters. Okay, so now we have this compound shape. So it's made out of 2 rectangles. So what we don't have is we don't know this length here and we don't know this length here. We know this is 2 centimeters because it's got one of those dashed lines, which means they're the same length. So if that's 2 and this entire side is 8, that means that must be 6. And if this side is 10 and that's 2, that makes this side 8. And these are in centimeters. So now we can just add all of these up. Now a little trick is if you were to pull this corner up here, it would still have the same perimeter, wouldn't it? You'd still have 8 and you'd still have 6, and it would be just a big rectangle. So pulling this corner down and inside here would still maintain the same perimeter as if it was 8, 8, 10, and 10. So 10 and 10 plus 8 would give you the entire perimeter. So 28, 36 centimeters. Or if you figured out that this was 6 and 8, 8 and 2 makes 10, and we have another 8 there, so it's 18, and so you can see that we should get 36. So 10 and 2 and 8 is 10, so it's 20, and then we have 2 and 6 is 8 and 8, so yeah, we should get 36. There's a special type of perimeter and it's called circumference. So circumference is the distance around a curved object. And there's a special ratio that we're going to be discussing. So you probably heard of a thing called pi, right? It's a special ratio in circles. So if I have this bit of string here, let's make that, we call this, that is the radius from the center of the circle to the outside. So we'll label that. This here we call a radius. Now two radiuses, or radii, all the way through, that is a diameter. So the radius is from the center to the outside of the circle and straight across through the center. That total distance is called the diameter. So if I was to take the radius, right, if I was just going to take that length, notice how that string is pretty much length to radius, and if I was to lay that on the outside of the circle, right, if I was to curve it and lay it on the outside, well, how many of the radiuses would fit on the circle? So we'll say that that's 1. That's 2. And what happens here is we get 3. So 1 radius, so if we take that length, we put it there, we put it there, then we put it there. We get 1 radius, 2 radius, then we get, we get 1 radius up to there, we get 2 radius up to there, so sorry, ignore those, 1, 2, and then we get 3. And we haven't quite got all the way around to the other side. So we have this little bit left over in there. And what that little bit is about 0.14. So to go all the way around, we have pi radiuses. A pi number of 3.14 radius to get all the way around to halfway. And so to get all the way around, so you'd get on the outside, you can fit 2 lots of that. So 2 pi radiuses all the way around the outside. So if I was to take my radius, then bend it and lay it on here, I'd get 1, 2, 3, and a bit more, call that pi. Then I've got pi and 1, pi and 2, pi and 3, and then a bit more again. So I've got 2 pi radiuses around the outside, and that is your circumference. So circumference is equal to 2 pi times the radius, okay? And then 2 radiuses is a diameter, so you could say that it's pi times diameter as well. That's a little extra one, okay? Pi times diameter. So let's getting a bit messy, so let's have a look at what this might look like. If we had let's say I have a circle and it has a radius, let's say it has a radius of 5 centimeters, then its circumference is equal to 2 pi times the radius. And if you had a calculator, because you're in year 10 or 11, you would say 2 pi, you might need to shift and get that pi, times 5, and that's 31.4. 31.4 centimeters. And that's it. That is the length around the outside. If you're in year 9, at King's High School, when you're not allowed a calculator for the first year, we just say that pi is approximately 3. So circumference would be 2 times 3 times 5, which would be 30, which is pretty close. 3 is a pretty good estimate. So if I gave you something like this, I want the perimeter of this shape, and it's a half circle, and we've got, let's say the diameter of this is 12 centimeters along here. Well, we want to know that that's this length, okay, if we wanted a perimeter. So let's say L, then the length of L will be a half of the circumference of a circle. So it'll be a half times 2 times pi times a radius. Now the radius in this one would be 6, half the diameter. Okay, so the length from here around to here would be a half of a circle. And there you have your circumference, 2 pi r. And that would be pi times 6. So if you're above year 9, it would be pi times 6, 18.85. Or you could just do 3 times 6, which is 18 centimeters. Okay, but that's the length. I've asked for the perimeter. So we have to add that 12 back on because we haven't actually counted this side yet. So 30 centimeters roughly is the outside of that shape. So that's the sort of problem that you might be expected to answer quite shortly. So after this video, I might put up a few of these problems. Awesome.